IPsec site-to-site VPN troubleshooting. So in this section, we are going to understand how to perform step-by-step troubleshooting. So I'm not going to discuss configuration, phase 1, phase 2, PFS, NAT, like inside VPN community, route-based VPN, domain-based or policy-based VPN. I assume like you understand VPN concepts very well. You are familiar with the configuration part, how to configure phase 1 and phase 2. Mainly, I'm going to talk about troubleshooting, right? And let me quickly start with the lab topology. So what topology we have? So there are two VPN gateways, Checkpoint and Palo Alto Firewall, and network behind Checkpoint gateway is 10.1.1.0, also known as encryption domain or VPN domain that need to be protected, right? And network behind Palo Alto Firewall is 172.16.1.0/24, right? And what problem we are going to solve here in this topology? So it basically host one device. Host 1 is behind checkpoint gateway and IP address is 10.1.2 and gateway address 10.1.1.1 means like checkpoint gateway, checkpoint interface IP as a gateway unable to communicate with host 2, right? So host 1 and host 2, they are not able to communicate with each other. Host 1 is behind checkpoint gateway and host 2 is behind Palo Alto firewall, right? Both firewalls, both VPN gateways already configured with phase 1, phase 2 parameters, security rules, security policy, right? So as I mentioned, like we are not going to see like configuration part, mainly troubleshooting part. So really going to be very, very important discussion because I'm going to talk about PFS, NAT, and your proxy IDs, debug commands, right? So very important section in fact. Okay, so let me quickly show you the problem, what problem we are going to solve here in this topology, and then I will show you step-by-step troubleshooting, how to troubleshoot in case if VPN or tunnel is down, maybe phase 1 is up, phase 2 is down, both like phase 1, phase 2, both like phases are up, but still there is issue with the data plane traffic, right? So how we can do, how we can perform troubleshooting. And side by side, I'll be showing like on both the gateway checkpoint and as well as Palo Alto firewalls. But let me quickly start with the problem, like what problem we are going to solve in this section, right? So I'm going to quickly show you like the ping like packet from host 1 to host 2. Okay. So it's a host 1 and host 1 IP address. So if you look at the IP address, so host 1 IP address is 10.1.1.2 and gateway is 10.1.1.1 checkpoint, right? The host 1 is behind checkpoint VPN gateway. And if we also do real quick verification, so 10.1.1.2, 10.1.1 is the gateway IP address, right? Let me close all this. So what I'm going to do, I'm trying to ping 172.16.1.2 and 1.2 is behind Palo Alto firewall, right? No success. So ping is not getting through. We don't know the reason, right? At this time, in fact, we don't know like what has gone wrong, why like host 1 is not communicating with host 2. And same if I initiate ping traffic from host 2 to host 1, and let me show you that also. Alright, so host 2 is like behind Palo Alto firewall 172.16.1.2 gateway address 172.16.1.1, and if we also do IP verification, so 172.16.1.2 and gateway is 172.16.1.1, right? Let me quickly launch ping command from host 2 to host 1 10.1.2 and -t. No success, right? So they both are not communicating with each other. All right. So let me show you checkpoint firewall configuration. So checkpoint firewall, like there is one security rule, site-to-site VPN traffic and source and destination both, LAN 1, LAN 2, LAN 1 and LAN 2, and there is VPN community created, service any and action is permitted, right? So no problem with security rule here, okay? And also if I just show you the blade like IPsec site-to-site VPN blade, so IPsec site-to-site VPN blade is activated or not on the gateway, so we can verify from the gateway properties. So IPsec site-to-site VPN blade is there. And what about the encryption domain? So if I just go to network management, so the local encryption domain, and then expand to open VPN domain. So there is like encryption domain defined here. Encryption domain means like policy based VPN or domain based VPN configuration, no route based VPN configuration. All right. So very much it looks good. And what about Palo Alto Firewall site? So like see the status like network tab and IPsec tunnel. So phase one, phase two, both are down, right? Both phase one and phase two both are down. And can we get some information from system monitor tab from here? Let me quickly refresh this. So yes, like I can see here Ike phase one negotiation is failed likely due to pre-shared key mismatch, right? So very informative log message. So at least we understand now at least the first problem. First problem is what? Like authentication problem. VPN peers are not able to authenticate with each other. And if quickly I just let me very quickly talk about like phase one like negotiation. So what happened like VPN gateway 1 and VPN gateway 2. So initial two exchanges like proposal and agreement message number 1 and message number 2, that is main mode 1 and main mode 2 means security attributes, right? Security attributes like encryption method, hashing method, authentication method, DH group lifetime, right? Authentication method. And then main mode 3 and main mode 4 means DH key computation. And then after packet number fifth and sixth is about VPN peers authentication, right? So actual authentication take place after like 4 successful exchanges. So, and as you know, like in authentication, either we can use digital certificate or pre-shared key. So method is negotiated in packet number 1 and 2 VPN peers authentication method, but actual authentication is done in packet number 5 and 6. So there seem to be some issue with VPN peers authentication, right? Can the first problem, right? We cannot say like this is the only problem, right? I'm not just drawing any conclusion here. I cannot conclude like that's the only problem that like VPN like peers authentication is failed, first problem, right? And then we can go to the next level. And in case if we want to do troubleshooting, and also let me quickly show you from CLI. It's a Palo Alto Firewall. So here we can run the command show VPN IKSA phase one, right? So no, like not in established state, and obviously there is no phase one, then means like there should not be any phase two. IPsec SA, no phase two. What about checkpoint? So it's a checkpoint. Let me quickly restart the session. Timed out. Checkpoint security gateway. So checkpoint security gateway, a very useful command VPN TU, VPN tunnel, and then like is different option here like list all IK essays, list all IPsec essays like phase one, phase two, or for a given peer, a gateway. right? And even we can delete from here also. Very useful command. So just hit down option number one, and no data to display, right? So now we understand that there is some issue with the phase one, and even from Palo Alto Firewall side, we easily understand like the problem is with the shared secret key. But what if you don't have access of like Palo Alto Firewall, right? What if you are working here on the checkpoint gateway only? You don't have access of Palo Alto Firewall, and maybe you are unable to just get the system error message of Palo Alto Firewall. So can we do some troubleshooting from checkpoint firewall also, right? Yes, that is also possible. So in case if we want to debug VPN message exchanges on checkpoint firewall, that is also possible. And how we can do that? So for that, first, like if password is not set for the expert mode, then set the password already set, then no need, right? And then change the mode, expert mode. Expert mode is basically bash shell, Linux shell, right? So now I'm going to run the command here, VPN debug ike on. So debug is enabled now, right? Debug is enabled. And let me quickly initiate ping one more time from here. So debug is enabled, but how we can see like the output, debug output? I mean, like there is no output on the console. Yes, there is no output on the console because output is written in firewall directory. There is in checkpoint, in fact, folder, log folder. So here in previous version, the file name was like ike.elg, but I'm using R81.10. So now like we'll get the file with the name legacy ike.elg file, right? And we can use a tool, ike view, a third party tool to open like elg file. I'm going to show you, so hang in there. And how we can copy the file, in fact, this like ike.elg file or legacy file, ike.elg, from checkpoint to Windows computer. So for that, we can use another tool, that is WinSCP, right? So if, let me turn off this, let this debug be enabled, not on production network, so no problem. So if I change the directory to where I need to get into firewall directory first, and then log, right? So here like I see the file with the name legacy underscore ike.elg. In older versions, previous versions, like the file name would be like ike.elg only, right? So we can open this file for further negotiation. But in order to copy this file from Linux based system to Windows, we need to use a software third party tool, that is WinSCP. So I'm going to open WinSCP. I'll connect with checkpoint gateway to copy this file from checkpoint gateway to my machine like Windows computer, and then I'll use ike view tool to open ELG file for further analysis. Understood? So what I'm going to do, first I'm going to use, and if already on my computer like Windows CP is already installed, so I'm going to open this tool. I will connect with checkpoint security gateway with the IP 10.1.1, and then we will copy this file right from the same location to Windows machine. And once copied, then I will use another tool, ike view, to like open this file legacy underscore ike.elg, and in previous version ike.elg only, right? And another important point I must mention here, since we are like working in like this Linux root or bash shell, Linux shell, right? There is another here like clish, This one, checkpoint. So and WinSCP also interact with the same bash shell. But in checkpoint firewall, the default admin user shell is clish. So we need to also change the default shell from clish to bash shell, right? So otherwise, like we'll get some error messages, right? Because we are in expert mode. If I just exit from here and if I run the command show user admin shell, so look at the default shell here, etc clish shell, right? So from export mode also we can change the shell, and the command here is chsh change shell -s bin slash bash shell, right? So change now. So easily we can now use WinSCP. We can interact with this Linux based system. Okay, so what next I'm going to do, I'm going to use WinSCP so that I can copy the file from this uh, where this one from firewall directory log folder. So I legacy underscore ike.elg file I want to copy from Linux checkpoint, or sorry, Linux based system, that is checkpoint gateway, from there to my Windows machine, and then I will open IView to open the file, and I will show you like the messages that have been like exchanged with the Palo Alto gateway, right? All right, so it's WinSCP, checkpoint gateway IP address, username, and password. Continue. Root and OPT, CP suite, RT1, here it is, FW1, and then log and legacy ike.elg file, right? This is the file, and the directories. You can look at the like complete path here. So just drag and drop, copied here, legacy ike.elg. I have a tool here like ike view. So file, open, and open this file, expand, and I can see like a lot of like messages. Phase one main mode with red color, not with green and blue color, and something wrong with phase one, right? So let me open the latest one, and how many packets you can like see here: main mode packet 1, main mode packet 2, main mode packet 3, main mode packet 4, and main mode packet 5. Where is packet number 6? Missing, right? So even it's very clear indication that the problem is with the authentication, because 4 messages successfully exchanged, fifth one even sent, but 6 messages I cannot see here, and that is why like no phase 2, like quick mode. In phase 2, 3 messages are exchanged, right? So we don't see like phase 2 here, only phase 1 and maximum 5 messages. And even you understand like packet number 1, like if I open the proposal message here, so proposal message packet number 1, proposal message here, ACCBC, key length 256, SHA1, pre-shared key is the authentication method, and lifetime also I can see, right? Then phase 2, packet number 2, like response in fact, agreement message, packet number 3 and 4, like DH key computation number used once are nonce in fact, signed and returned by other like parties. I hope you understand like all the negotiation. Packet number 5 also I can see like packet number 5 here, but no packet number 6, right? So we understand, right? So I'm not going to close this I view. Let this be open WinSCP also. Maybe later on we'll use this. So how we can fix this issue then? Very simple, like configure same pre-shared key on both gateways. So let me quickly show you how we can configure pre-shared key on checkpoint first. So open the VPN community, and here the community name is NetTech site-to-site VPN community, and how you can identify the community name from this rule in fact. So if you look at the VPN column in the security rule here, so the VPN community name is NetTech site-to-site VPN community. Good so far. Edit. So, and here there are two gateways, Palo Alto and Checkpoint gateway. There are two gateways here, and even we can also do like encryption and hashing method verification from here. But let me quickly change the password. So I'm going to use the password as like nettech, right? 123. So nettech123 is the password. Now I configured on checkpoint gateway, and the same password. It's just the recommendation that password length should be minimum 20 characters. So you can ignore like the recommendation, a warning message, not basically an error message. And the same password nettech123, I'm going to configure on Palo Alto Firewall also, right? So the installation is in progress, and back to checkpoint, sorry, Palo Alto, network tab. Oh, I'll have to refresh the page. Timed out, no problem. So I will set the same password nettech123 so that at least the error message like shared secret key or authentication method, at least authentication problem will be fixed, and then we'll see like what is the next problem after that, or like everything is in good shape then, right? All right, so still tunnel status yes down, right? So I gateway, open I gateway, and here is the option to configure preset key. So nettech 123, nettech 123, hit down OK and commit the changes. Commit. And in the meantime, uh, let me first check like policy installation status on checkpoint. Done, successfully done. And if again I go to a Windows computer behind checkpoint gateway or anywhere, so here it is. Okay, so ping 172.16.1.2. So again I initiated ping, and here also let me prac, and still no success, right? So what is problem now? Again, if I go to monitor, so refresh this, not sure like phase one issue or phase two, but I can see here like phase one negotiation is succeeded as responder main mode, establish security association with 192.168.1.152 and UDP port number 500. So looks good, at least phase one negotiation. Like, so can we check the status from IPsec tunnel status? Refresh, yes. So at least one phase one is up, phase two is still down. And what about verification from CLI? All right, so show VPN I security association. So yes, I can see here, but zero phase two is zero, so phase two zero, so only phase one. Okay, IPsec SA. Yes, no phase two. And if I open checkpoint gateway, and now you understand like what command I'm going to use, VPN TU tunnel. Option number one, yes, IKSA successfully established. What about IPsec SA? No IPsec SAs, right? Only phase one. Now, how we can do troubleshooting now? So we don't know like what has gone wrong. Why phase 1 is up but phase 2 is still down? Debug is still in the progress because debug is continuously running. So can we again open this ONSCP and I'm going to replace the file ike.elg, replace, okay, and refresh here also, open new file and just refresh, even refresh will work. So hit down refresh. Yes, so now I can see here phase 1 successful, blue color, right? All 6 packet you can see 1 2 3 4 5 6 successfully done. Even in phase 2 P2 I can see like a quick mode, packet number 1 I can see here, security association, proposal message sent, right? And what proposal message, ESP AES, ESP is the protocol, right? You understand, like in phase 2, like ESPRAH, which protocol will be used, negotiated. Encapsulation mode is negotiated, tunnel mode. However, Palo Alto Firewall supports only tunnel mode, no transport mode. So transport mode cannot be configured on Palo Alto Firewall, and that is why we even don't get option to make our selection tunnel or transport mode in Palo Alto Firewall, right? So in phase 2, if you remember, so in phase 2, like a lot of messages are exchanged apart from encryption method. In phase 2, I'm talking about IKE phase 2, also known as IPsec. So encryption method, and you understand, like IKE phase 2 negotiation is for data plane traffic, user traffic, and phase 2 is what? Unidirectional tunnel, and that is why a pair of phase 2 tunnels are created, one inbound and one outbound. Phase 1 is bidirectional tunnel, but phase 1 is not for the user traffic, not for the data plane traffic. So again, encryption method is negotiated, hashing method, yes, negotiated, lifetime, correct, DH group, optional, right, is negotiated only if PFS is enabled, perfect forward secrecy, otherwise no DH group. And the protocol, whether ESP or AH, authentication header or encapsulating security payload. ESP provides like data integrity, authentication, also encryption, right? And which mode will be used, tunnel or transport mode? And you can see here tunnel mode. Tunnel mode means encrypts layer 3 and above, layer 3 and above. And transport mode is something that encrypts layer 4 and above. And generally, transport mode is used in GRE over IPsec or DINGM VPN, dynamic multi-point VPN, like a Cisco technology, in fact, right? And in Palo Alto, as I mentioned, uh, transport mode is not supported, and that is why, as such, there is no option in Palo Alto Firewall to make our selection. So I can see here like tunnel mode and authentication, lifetime also 3600 means an hour, right? So ESP protocol, AES I can see, but no DH group. I cannot see DH group because DH group is not negotiated if PFS is not enabled, and in checkpoint PFS is by default disabled, right? In Cisco also by default disabled. And I cannot see any other packet. Only in quick phase 2 only one packet number 1 only, means security association, but no like response, no acknowledgement, or you can say no agreement, in fact, means something wrong with the negotiation. Quick mode packet number 1. So what we can understand now, that is like there is something wrong with the phase 2 negotiation, phase 2 negotiation. So what we need to match, we need to match encryption method, authentication method, also like if PFS is enabled, then DH group, ESP protocol, right? So now we understand like what all methods like are sent by checkpoint gateway. And let me quickly go to the Palo Alto firewall now. right? In Palo Alto Firewall, network tab, and then IPsec crypto. IPsec crypto means phase 2. And I can see here like there is one IPsec crypto created here, and for if you want to be 100% sure which IPsec crypto profile have been used, then you can see from here IPsec crypto profile name, and name is what? Because in production network you will find like whole bunch of like IKE phase 1 and IKE phase 2 profiles, right? So you need to figure out like which profile is in use. So IPsec and then crypto 1 is the name of phase 2 profile. So let me go to IPsec crypto, and here it is, IPsec underscore crypto. So AES, ESP, SHA-1, lifetime 60 minutes, but I can see here DH group 2. Why? Because in Palo Alto Firewall, by default, perfect forward secrecy PFS is enabled, and you can see from here by default enabled, and that's very important configuration because in other vendors like Cisco routers, checkpoint gateways, PFS is by default disabled. And what is exactly PFS? So if PFS is enabled, then DH key computation is again done in phase 2. Otherwise, phase 1 key, like the key computed in phase 1 is used in phase 2 computation, right? But generally what people do to make security very strong, they enable PFS so that DH key computation is done again in phase 2 for phase 2 key computation. So PFS is enabled, right? So now I have two options. Either I should just go back to checkpoint and again I configure their PFS, or even simply I can disable PFS on Palo Alto Firewall also. Let's hope for the best that after fixing this like phase 2 negotiation, problem resolved, but not sure like what will be the outcome. I'm not sure like what is going to happen, but at least so far we have fixed like shared secret key problem, like authentication problem, and now this phase 2 negotiation problem, at least related with the PFS, because other parameters are correct, encryption, hashing, and lifetime, and other parameters. All right. So go to monitor tab, system, refresh, and again, I'm just going to initiate packet 172.16.1.2. No success, no ping response. Generally, like after one RTO, we get proper response, right? But no like response coming from destination host device. Still like some issue with the VPN. Not sure. Can we check the status from Palo Alto first? Here, like we can run the command show VPN ike.elg. No need to run this command again and again because we know like already our phase 1 is up. What about phase 2? No, phase 2 is still down. Phase 2 is still down. Phase 1, yes. What about phase 2? No IPsec CCSA. So still there is some issue with phase 2, right? And from check Palo Alto Firewall, can we get some system log message? Yes, I can see here. Phase 2 negotiation failed when processing proxy ID. Cannot find matching phase 2 tunnel for received proxy ID. Received local ID is this. Okay, so what is proxy ID? Why proxy ID is required here? Because like checkpoint firewall has been configured with domain-based VPN or policy-based VPN, right? Domain-based VPN configuration. And Palo Alto is basically a route-based VPN, but it does support proxy IDs also, route-based. So that is something, the issue, like at first place, like what it looks means, like on checkpoint gateway, both domain, like local encryption domain and remote encryption domain, both are defined, but probably on the Palo Alto firewall, proxy ID is not defined, because whenever we configure route-based VPN, so no need of like defining proxy IDs. So generally we don't do that on Palo Alto firewall. But from the log message, we can see like something related with the proxy IDs. All right, so just go ahead and fix that. So from where we configure like proxy IDs in Palo Alto firewall is like you must have seen on Cisco router also creating ACL, right? Access layer 101 permit IP, then source mask, and then destination mask. I mean like the wildcard mask, right? So in checkpoint, if you want to configure proxy ID, right? So open IPsec tunnel proxy IDs, and yes, like there is no proxy ID configured here, right? No proxy IDs. Okay, because in route-based VPN, proxy ID is not required, but checkpoint firewall has been configured with domain-based VPN, not route-based VPN. In route-based VPN, we create tunnel, and then tunnel is protected with IPsec, and then even dynamic routing is also supported in route-based VPN. Even number of phase two tunnels like always remain like only one pair, no matter like how many subnets you are going to protect. I mean like number of subnets or number of networks that need to be protected can go in any number. Still only one pair of phase two tunnels, right? So I'm sure like you all must be knowing about like differences or benefits of configuring route-based VPN as compared to policy or domain-based VPN, right? So there are like a couple of uh, advantages in route-based VPN. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to configure proxy ID here. Just name any proxy ID and local, and be very careful here, right? Don't forget to like specify CIDR block or subnet mask length here. Even if you miss that, so no error message is given, right? Your configuration will be accepted. Even you will be able to comment the changes, but you understand like subnet mask, or even if you are just doing something wrong here, I mean like if you even put this like /24, Palo Alto firewall literally is not going to give any error message, right? I've seen like engineers like doing mistake like in proxy ID configuration. So be careful, right? Don't commit any mistake here. Don't forget to specify mask, right? Don't wait for any error or warning message coming from Palo Alto firewall. No, no error message, no warning message. Hit down OK, OK, commit. Let's hope for the best that everything goes well. So from our side, like we have fixed this issue also, proxy ID issue, but you understand like in troubleshooting till the time like problem is not resolved, you cannot be very much sure, like we cannot conclude anything. So still I'm not in a position to make any conclusion whether like both host devices are going to communicate or not. And you understand like what problem we are trying to fix here. The problem is what both like end devices, they are not communicating, right? And purpose, you understand like VPN means like secure communication between different sites. All right, so let's do a quick refresh here. Still not looking good. 172.16.1.2, no, request timed out. There's only one like RTO message. Yes, we can uh, accept that, but not more than one. So same problem. Hmm. What if we run the command VPN to phase 2, no IPsec SA? It's still the same problem, right? So what's wrong now? Because phase 2 is still down, proxy ID is configured, and can we also check proxy ID on checkpoint site? So security gateways, security gateway 1, edit. So local encryption domain configured here. LAN 1 is the local encryption domain. What about remote encryption domain? So if I go to network object and the gateways and servers, and here is interoperable device, Palo Alto Firewall, edit. So what about encryption domain? IPsec link selection is obviously good. Internal, external, and user defined. Yes, configured properly. So on checkpoint firewall, configured properly, like local and as well as remote, because it's a Palo Alto firewall gateway object, interoperable device object. And here I can see like LAN 2 defined as a VPN domain or encryption domain. On security gateway 1 also, encryption domain, local encryption domain is properly configured. What is wrong now? All right, so what message now we are getting? Because from our side, we have fixed the issue of proxy IDs. But still, after a refresh, still I see the same proxy ID error, right? Any idea why like it's happening? Like still we are getting proxy ID message, error message, because we have fixed the issue. So let me quickly show you the diagram. So now checkpoint firewall is configured that local encryption domain is 10.1.1.0/24. Remote encryption domain is 172.16.1.0/24. Palo Alto Firewall also has like proxy ID configuration now, right? Local 172.16.1.0/24. Remote encryption domain 10.1.1.0/24, right? Something very different error message, because both gateways have like proper configuration, local and remote, and even like cider block. And because what we understand, like proxy ID means like mirror of like another one, right? Exactly. They both have like proxy ID configuration. PFS already fixed. We have verified like phase 2, other phase 2 security attributes like encryption method configured same on both, hashing method same, no PFS on both end, even lifetime same, protocol ESP that is also same, like mode, tunnel mode. What is wrong now, right? So will this debug help us in troubleshooting? So again, if I go to like this, like already debug is in progress. Debug is continuously running, right? To turn off debug, there is command like a VPN, like debug ike off. So I'm going to override. Can we get some information from here? Now let's do a quick refresh. Refresh. Phase 2. Phase 1, no. Only quick mode packet number 1 proposal. So I don't see here like because in phase 2 quick mode total 3 messages are exchanged, right? QM1, QM2, QM3. But I see here like only one message, quick mode packet number 1, right? Okay, so now the last result is just checking checkpoint log message now. So it's time to check the checkpoint log message. So open logs and monitor on checkpoint gateway, because Palo Alto is showing like something issue related with what proxy IDs, right? So I'm interested in latest logs only. So change this. Wait, it's still loading up, and expand, refresh this. So 10.1.1.2 and 172.16.1.2, and but I'm interested in let me first put a filter with the source. I'm interested in 10.1.1.2. Destination, also multiple filter. I'm interested in 1.2, and also service, because a lot of other services I can see here is there. Echo request, echo message, echo request, or maybe echo reply. I can see only one packet here, an encrypted VPN community. Just double click. So what I did, I used multiple filters, and you can see here. Let me choose a different color. VPN peer gateway and I method ESP AES256 SHA-1 NetTech site-to-site VPN community source IP 10.1.1.2 correct, destination IP 172.16.1.2 both correct, echo request like the first packet encrypted, right? So, and the access rule number, like match rule is what? Rule number 4, and yes, correct. Rule number 4 is matching with site-to-site VPN traffic, and the same community NetTech site-to-site VPN community even. So match with the VPN community. Okay, but here I can see like a NAT source IP translated. Source IP translated with what? 192.168.1.151, and 151 is security gateway IP. And I can see here like the NAT rule number 4 matched with this traffic means source translated to this IP. And that is why we see like proxy ID error message on Palo Alto file. Let me quickly again show you the log message. So on Palo Alto Firewall, we see here phase 2 negotiation. Can you see this message, or let me increase the font size? Okay, so you can see now properly. Phase 2 negotiation failed when processing proxy ID cannot find matching phase 2 tunnel for received proxy ID, received local ID type subnet protocol, and received remote ID is 1.151/32. Okay, so understood what went wrong? Why there is some proxy ID issue? Why phase 2 tunnel is not up? Why phase 2 tunnel is down? Both firewalls have proper proxy ID configured, still no phase 2 tunnel, no success, like in fact not getting through. So the log message is really very helpful here, right? Let me like explain like the problem is basically here. In fact, there is one gateway and for internet, and the gateway IP address I believe is 192.168.1.1. I'm not sure like whether the same IP or different IP, but no problem. But here on checkpoint gateway, NAT policy is there, and generally we create source NAT policy to translate source IP and source port address, right? And what's happening here, like client request is hitting checkpoint gateway, and source IP address 10.1.1.2 is getting translated with checkpoint external interface IP address, right? And you understand like a packet is like getting routed via IPsec tunnel, so there is no need of at first place there is no need of doing like performing translation need to be done only if the packet is being routed to the internet. Means internet bound traffic, there should be NAT, IPsec tunnel bound traffic, no NAT, right? So on Palo Alto Firewall, as there is no problem, because in Palo Alto Firewall, generally what we do, we put this tunnel in a separate zone, security zone. Generally, we create a separate zone for that. And in NAT policy, we define like perform NAT only if the source zone is inside and destination zone is outside. Then do like the source NAT, translate source IP with maybe the firewall exit interface IP and also translate the source port address, right? It that means in Palo Alto Firewall, NAT is done only if the source zone is inside and destination zone is outside. Okay, so what if a packet coming from this computer and destined to the destination host one device, and if routing says that this packet need to be put inside the tunnel, VPN tunnel, so by default NAT will not be done, because then source zone inside and destination zone tunnel means VPN zone. So in NAT policy, if the source zone is inside, destination zone is outside, then only NAT would be done. But if the destination zone is VPN zone, then no NAT, right? So in Palo Alto Firewall, it's very simple. We don't have to do any additional configuration for that, right? Now let me show you this Palo Alto Firewall policy. So in case even if we create any NAT policy here or security policy, so we specify like zone, either NAT or security policy, anywhere, like whatever, like QoS policy, policy based forwarding, decryption, we always specify source and destination zone, right, in all the policies. But what about checkpoint firewall? So what now I suspect that VPN, like even inside VPN community, NAT is not disabled. So even if the packet is like putting inside this tunnel, IPsec tunnel, still NAT is being done. Maybe over the internet, again NAT, right? So what we need to do, we need to do some configuration so that packet that is not destined to the internet so never get NATed. Because in IPsec tunnel, we understand NAT is not required at first place. And even this will create problem, the NAT translation. And that is why we are creating IPsec tunnel so that both sides, both locations can freely communicate with each other with their private IPs. Public IP not required. NAT means extending private networks over shared network infrastructure, right? So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to check this configuration option on checkpoint. All right, so go to VPN community properties, right? Edit and add once, and yes, disable NAT inside the VPN community is unchecked. And if we go to security policy and NAT policy, so I can see like the rule number 4 is what? Automatic hide NAT rule to translate source IP from 10.1.1.0 with the HH stand for hide NAT with external interface IP. So NAT is enabled. You can verify the same from network object also. So if I show you LAN 1 object, network object, so NAT is enabled. So in checkpoint, it's very easy, in fact, known as automatic NAT, means NAT rules are created automatically after enabling the option here, hide NAT and hide behind the gateway. So network is protected, not protected, basically hidden behind checkpoint gateway. All right, so NAT rule is there. No problem with the NAT rule. Problem is with the VPN community. So what I'm going to do now, edit, and advanced, disable NAT inside the VPN community. Understood? Right? So no need to create any policy or something like as we do in some other vendor devices, exempt NAT and no NAT, right? Simply just enable this option. Hit down OK, install policy. Policy is now pushed to the gateway from management server. So if you are familiar with checkpoint three-tier architecture, so you understand how we just create policy, how policy is pushed from admin server to the checkpoint gateway, right? And now cross the finger, hope for the best. One 122.16.1.2 is the computer behind Palo Alto Firewall. No success. Still, there is some issue, right? So even after doing a lot of fix, in fact, we are not able to like ensure like secure communication between both sides. Can we find something useful? Let's see. Phase one negotiation done successfully. Wait. Generally, a log message means takes time, right? So what about checkpoint logs? So it's not very quick, in fact. So it takes time. So already 5:33. So it's not the latest one, right? So wait here. So it takes time. And in the meantime, what I'm going to do, I'm going to also clear like phase one and phase two tunnel, clear VPN in case of any phase two, phase one, ISA. So both phase one, phase two, and how we do the same on checkpoint. So on checkpoint, we run the command timed out, no problem. So restart, where is just wait, no, it's okay. So VPN TU, VPN, and phase one, yes. What about phase two? No IPsec CCSA. So still there is some issue. All right, and how we can now check like further. So phase one negotiation is started as responder main mode initiated essay, but now no more like proxy ID error messages, I believe. See here. So phase two negotiation failed when processing proxy ID cannot find matching phase two tunnel for receive proxy ID. So there is no tunnel, right? Remote ID test and this. So there is some issue, and check the can we find something from the session browser? Refresh this and source destination ping. And if you look at the packet here, okay, so the issue here is from zone inside to outside, source is this, destination is this. Okay, so it is picking up the wrong zone, in fact, outside security zone. Look at this message. So I tried to ping like 10.1.1.2 from 172.16.1.2, the ping traffic, right? Match with the security rule, session created, session ID is 562, session is created, application is ping, security rule is permit any because security rule is not restricting anything. But what problem I can see from here is the wrong zone, in fact, right? Why? Like it is so because in like this outside zone is like means like for internet, inside zone like for LAN, and the third one, this one green color interface is basically a tunnel interface, is in different and should be in different zone. 99% of like time we put this tunnel interface, like the interface that we create, like tunnel interface, in a separate zone. Means maybe any, let's say VPN zone. I'm not sure like in which zone this tunnel interface is. So let me quickly check that first, and then I'll be back to this explanation. So network and interfaces, tunnel 1, yes, tunnel 1 is in VPN zone. It's not in outside zone, right? Now, let me explain first, and then we'll fix this issue. Means if traffic coming from this computer 172.16.1.2 and destination is this computer 10.1.1.2, so will we check against the like routing table, or like what route this Palo Alto firewall has for 10.1.2? So definitely in the routing table for this destination, route should be via tunnel 1 interface, and for any other network internet bound traffic via this interface. And ethernet 1/2 is in outside zone, and tunnel interface is in VPN zone, right? So Palo Alto firewalls would have, right, VPN route in the routing table. Means in order to route packet to 10.1. What you call it, 10.1.1.0, the exit interface would be tunnel interface this way, right? And tunnel is in VPN zone. And for any other like destination, ethernet 1/2 is in outside zone. And what we have just seen in the session browser, or maybe in the log, picking up the wrong like zone, exit zone, egress zone, right? Egress zone was outside. Means like there is some routing issue on the Palo Alto firewall. So Palo Alto firewall, virtual router, default, static route. Yes, route is missing here. There is only one route, default route. Any network address, Ethernet 1/2, right? So if I show you the route, so there is only one route. And egress interface, Ethernet 1/2. Ethernet 1/2 is in outside security zone. Routing issue. So just let me quickly put a default, VPN route here. VPN route. You can give any name here. So it's just the name. But the destination should be correct /24. An interface, exit interface tunnel, and next hop IP, no IP address because tunnel not created on checkpoint site. So just exit interface tunnel and commit. Now let's hope like that all problems fixed, everything is in good shape. Not sure yet. In the meantime, let me quickly break this ping so that we can initiate ping again. Also, I will reset the tunnels. So on Palo Alto firewall, clear VPN ike.elg phase 1, and there is no phase 2. So obviously the issue is with the phase 2. And if we want to do the same on checkpoint, then easy command VPN TU, and option number 0, delete all IPsec plus I cases for all peers and users. Okay, good. All right, monitor and the system refresh, and now again I'm going to initiate ping traffic. Yes. So now finally we resolved all the issues, right? There is proper ping, and if we do a refresh here, yes, phase 1 essay is deleted, and very soon like we are going to see here message. It takes time, it's not very real time, so sometime takes time. And what about tunnel status? Green, perfect, right? And can we now see debug output? Again, drag and drop, open. So now we should see both phases and refresh. At the bottom, yes, now I can see phase 2 successful, green, and all three messages exchange, right? Security association, proposal message, phase 2, like quick mode 2 and quick mode 3. And we can see like information also here, notification, DPT, did peer detection, hello messages. All right, so now successfully we solve the issue.